Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Win and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking all about the settings in Warzone Mobile. This is something that very many of you have asked for because it can be overwhelming when you first look in the game at all of the things you can configure. So today we'll talk about the gameplay settings and the interface settings. I'll have another video in the future that talks about the controls and my sensitivities for being an iPad player, but today's video will be for everyone and talking about all these automations and different switches and settings and everything. So let's get into it and first talk about automations. So unlike a lot of other games, Warzone Mobile adds a bunch of automatic features that I quite frankly like to just turn off. There are things that will automatically have you go upstairs, automatically turn corners, automatically jump over things. It can be really crazy, and my philosophy when I play the game is that I like to be in control. I want to know exactly what my character is going to do, and I don't want him to randomly do something like pull his parachute or turn around a corner that I wasn't expecting because of some weird setting. So I do turn a lot of these automations off. But there are a few automations that we do want to keep on. For example, auto picking up our starter handgun, auto picking up a weapon. These are things that you want your character to do. When you land for the first time and you run over a gun, obviously you want him to pick it up. You don't have any gun. Well, having a gun is better than no gun. So we do have our weapon auto pickups on. You can also go a step further and you can customize the order of the weapons. As you go throughout the match, if your two favorite weapons, like I have, are an assault rifle and an SMG, your character will constantly change the weapon you're holding until you have an assault rifle and an SMG. So if you have a shotgun and then you go over an LMG, he'll swap that because you told it LMGs are more important to you. Next, turn to damage assist. This is kind of like one of those automations. If you're getting shot from some direction, it'll automatically turn your character. We don't really want that to happen. Sometimes when you have to be moving very quickly, and as you guys know, Warzone Mobile is a mobility shooter. You need to be running, going through doors, putting in plates, sliding, doing all kinds of things. And if someone's shooting you in the back, the last thing you want is for your character to turn and face that person and just get mowed down. The next setting is loot auto pickup. This is an automation we do want to have on. If you guys are familiar with other battle royale games, this is auto looting, right? This is, he's gonna pick up ammunition, he's gonna pick up armor plates, cash. This one is huge. Specifically because unlike other games like PUBG Mobile, where all of the loot is inside of this box and you just have to stand over the box and, you know, grab all the things you want, the loot when people die explodes everywhere and you kind of have this circle of loot around the dead body. What most players do is they'll just quickly run around in a circle and the guy will grab everything he needs automatically, and it's super helpful. Now here comes some of the automatic stuff that I did say I want to turn off. Auto mantling. This is when your guy will just jump over a barrel or jump over like a low wall or a fence or something automatically. Can be pretty annoying. Parachute. Now this is an interesting one. There are multiple settings here where you can have him automatically pull his parachute all the time. We don't want that. However, I like to have it on as auto once. That way every time you're flying into the match for the first time, he'll pull his parachute. That way you're not going to make a mistake and like literally die in the very beginning of the match. The auto climbing the stairs button. This is really annoying. Turn it off. Auto crouch, turn it off. Turn corners assistance, turn it off. Equip, auto equip armor. You can also have that off. This is like if your character runs over a plate and you need to put in a plate, it will automatically do that. Again, I don't want to be running away from an enemy, running for my life in the zone, and my guy runs over a plate and is like, well, hold on, let me put in a plate. Like, no, okay? If I didn't tell you to put in a plate, don't put in a plate, okay? Virtual stick behavior, always sprint. You want to, you know, when you pull up, you want your guy to be going quickly. That's pretty self-explanatory. Sprint to stand when you're laying down. I like to turn this on. If I'm, you know, laying down and I want to get going, hitting that tack sprint button, your guy will just start, you know, getting up and going very quickly. Camera rotation mode. This is personal preference. There are a lot of settings in Warzone Mobile that I'm going to tell you. It's up to you. And it, you know, your settings are going to be a little bit different than mine. This means that when you swipe on the screen, depending on how fast you swipe, he could turn more. I like this because if somebody's shooting behind, I like to swipe quickly, flick around, beam them, and it's a little bit more of an advanced setting. But if you like fixed, that is, no matter how fast, it's all based on how far you move your thumb. So if you turn it the same distance, no matter how slow or fast, your character will turn the same amount every time. ADS button allows rotation, fire button allows rotation, throwback button allows rotation. First of all, let's just talk about the throwback button. If somebody throws a frag at you in Warzone Mobile, you can actually pick it up and throw it back. That's the button that we're talking about. I am not a gyro player, and I'm not a thumbs player. I believe that these buttons help if you do use gyroscope or if you are a thumbs player. Because if you're just using your thumbs, this is the type of setting that, like, let's say you click the aim button and then you want to look around after you've aimed, all in one gesture, the tap of the thumb and the moving of the thumb. That's what these are for. But if you're like a 4-finger, 5-finger, multiple finger player, you're probably going to want to turn these off. So this just, when you tap, it doesn't allow the screen to look around while you're having your finger on that button. I turn them off, just letting you know what I use. Weapon mounting. This is a really interesting mechanic that I don't think is really in any other game except Warzone. This is when, you know, like I mount my gun to a windowsill or to a wall, and you kind of like lay it down or keep it against the wall for better recoil control. Now, in order to exit that stance, that action, you can pull away with the analog stick to kind of tell your guy, okay, I'm ready to move, let's go. The movement exit on is what I have. That is allowing yourself to run out of a mount and keep going. Exit delay determines how much time is required for you to move your analog before it will leave the mount. I like to have this as short as possible. I like to mount with my character, and then as soon as I need to move, it's like 5 milliseconds. You move the analog, you know, it's like a slight delay, and then he'll pull away off that wall and keep going. Combat. This is, you know, a lot of these are pretty obvious, but we'll go through them really quickly. Manual fire versus auto fire. If you're a very beginning player, I recommend auto fire. That is simply that when you point at an enemy and it knows that you're aimed at that enemy, it will fire for you. As a more advanced player, I like to control everything, so I have manual fire where I need to tap the fire button in order to fire. That's a pretty obvious one, but just worth explaining for any new players that we have watching this video. Auto fire on objects, I turn it off because I don't have any auto fire on, so I would recommend, if you're going to be an even serious mobile gamer, just turn all this stuff off. A lot of us, when we look at these settings, we know that these are very like beginner friendly for people that just use their thumbs, which there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of advanced players, if you play for a long period of time, they start to incorporate index fingers. They start to incorporate middle fingers. You know, they get really crazy, 4 finger, 6 finger, 7 finger. Auto fire, that's for like pretty much, I'd say like thumbs players. So I turn all that off. Single shot fire behavior. This is a big one. When you're scoping in with a sniper rifle or a shotgun, are you going to fire when you tap the button, or are you going to hold the button and it fires when you release? I don't like release. I think it's really weird. I like to do one quick action, and I want to know that as soon as I tap or as soon as I pull that trigger, it's going to fire the bullet. So I have it set to on tap. Aim down sights when firing, definitely turn this off. So when you start firing at an opponent, you do not want your character to automatically aim down sight. Sometimes hip firing is very important, but if you have aim down sight when firing turned on, your character's never going to hip fire. They're always going to scope in every time you fire, and you don't want that. Sometimes you need to, you know, let it rip from the hip. Focus behavior. This is a really good one, and it's something that is new to mobile gaming. When you're aiming, obviously with a sniper rifle, in Call of Duty, just like in console and PC, there's a bit of aim sway, and you have to hold your breath and hit that lungs button. And then he aims, you know, and keeps it steady. But if you hold your breath for too long, he gets really tired, and then the aim gets really bad, right? We all know that mechanic from Call of Duty. So with mobile, because this is kind of new, I'm coming from a game like PUBG Mobile where there is no sway. Like when you aim in, it stays perfectly still. So that, like, I have to use this lung button to try to steady my aim all the time. And again, that's like another button that you have to press. I like to set this to auto, so every time I scope in, he'll automatically hold his breath for like 3 or 4 seconds, and it makes the aim super, super steady. And most of the time, I don't need to be aimed in that long. I see a guy, aim in, take the shot, right? So I like to have this on auto. So every time you scope in with a sniper, he will hold his breath like for 4 or 5 seconds automatically. And it's just one less thing you have to tap that the game does for you automatically. Now, I know I was against automations, but this is one that I do think helps. Auto melee. Oh man, this is a controversial one. Auto melee, if you're close enough to somebody, it will override everything. If you're firing your gun, it doesn't matter. Your guy will start hitting him with the gun and doing the melee attack. It's a little bit controversial because it's kind of broken. If somebody runs by you, you can just start beating the crap out of them. But I don't like to have it on because, like I mentioned before, I like to know what my character's going to do. I don't want him to do anything unexpected. So if I'm firing real close with an SMG because I want to gun someone down, I don't want him to automatically start punching when that sometimes might not be the best course of action. Sometimes melee is a little bit slower than just ripping a whole magazine into him. So I turn that off. If I'm going to melee, it's because I'm going to tell him I want him to melee, not because he did it automatically. Sprinting door bash, you have to turn this on. You just have to do it. Mobility is a big part of Warzone, like we've mentioned so many times already. When you run through a closed door, you can go poof, and it blasts the door open and you can keep running through. Force reload, I have set to sprint only. So when this is off, reloading can be interrupted by actions such as sprinting. So I have it set so that only sprinting can interrupt my reloading. Like nothing else really does that. Force equipping all armor plates, equipable armor plates. I have these both off. When this is on, equipping armor plates cannot be interrupted. So again, if you're in a sticky situation and you go to put an armor plate in, There is no way to cancel it. Your character will have to finish that plate before they can sprint and you know, get out of enemy like fire. I don't like that. I want to be able to cancel the plate if I need to get behind cover quickly. All these settings, we have them set to off because we don't want to get stuck doing something that we're like, no, stop, crap, I died. Oh, dude, I was putting in a plate and I couldn't stop it. That's why this one is off. The next one, equip all armor plates. Like it says, when you tap to use the armor plates, he will then put in, let's say you need all 3 plates. Tap it once, plate. I like to have this off simply because if I wanted just 1 plate and then I got to run, again, I don't want him to get stuck putting in all these plates. Aim assist, another controversial setting. I like to keep it on, especially now that we know we're playing against controller players. God, their aim assist is insane. I like to make YouTube videos. I don't need my life to be any harder than it is. So I play with aim assist on. Vehicle control sticks, that's obvious. And then gyroscope. This is where gyro is. It's buried down in the bottom of the gameplay settings. A lot of you guys were like, why does Warzone Mobile not have gyro? You're probably looking in the sensitivities, which I don't blame you. That makes sense. That's probably where it should be. So the gyroscope is way down here, and there are obviously gyro settings. In here, you can reverse the axis, so up is down, down is up, and whatnot. If you guys are on Android and you're experiencing the problem where the gyroscope gets like reversed, I got that glitch all the time where I don't mean for it to be inverted, but it is. You can go in here and invert it again to make it back to normal, which is kind of weird, you know. Flips it, but it like flips it twice so it's normal again. That's where you'll be able to find that setting. And then outlines at the bottom, that's a normal thing, so you can just see outlining your teammates. Let's go to the interface settings. Left fire display always on. I believe I have that as always on. Yes. Showing your ammo integrated. This is big because, you know, we're playing on smaller screens, especially phone players have a smaller screen. You don't want as many things on the screen as possible. You want to try to keep it clean. So integrate the bullets into the gun. You'll see here, if we go into my controls real quick, you see how the 30 out of 80 bullets is like inside of it. If you don't integrate it, that 30 out of 80 will be outside. And again, it's another thing on your screen that's going to just make it hard to see. So I integrate that to keep it as clean as possible. Hit markers, customize these however you want. If you like the hit markers bigger or smaller, a little bit more transparent. I just keep it default. I like to have them 100% so I can see them, and I like to keep them the normal size. That is it. Auto sprint lock. That is the little arrow on your analog you drag up, and then you could keep it locked. So, you know, if you have to like take your hand off the screen or whatever, your character will keep sprinting forward. Change stance. This is prone and crouched put together. I have it put together because there are a lot of buttons in this game, and having a prone button somewhere is just another button you have to press. And proning and laying down is something I do not do nearly as much in this game as I do in other games like PUBG Mobile. When you have it merged, all you have to do is hold down your crouch button for like less than half a second, and then he'll like dive forward and lay down or go prone. It's not about like proning and drop shotting like we know in PUBG Mobile. It's more about the diving. So you can, with it merged, when you're sprinting, tap it and he'll slide because the crouch button becomes a slide button. But when you're sprinting, if you just hold it a little bit, like I mentioned, he'll dive forward, and that's how you can be laid down. When you're standing still and you want to prone, drop shotting, it's possible, but I don't really do it, nor do I see a lot of people do it to me, because laying down in this game is a very slow thing. Like your guy like gets down on his knee and then he prones. It's like a 2-phase action. So proning is very slow in Warzone Mobile, so I don't do it too much. If anything, when you're pushing an enemy and you're gonna fight them, you would want to aim down sight and maybe like bunny hop and jump around. I find that to be a more effective like strategy to kind of like messing up their shots than going prone and laying down, since that's so slow. Fixed joystick, I have this off because sometimes I might miss my joystick and I am not running, and I'm like, why is my character not running? So when you turn it off, anywhere on this like left side of your screen where you go to put your thumb to run, the joystick will like move to where your finger is, so that way you don't ever miss your joystick. I don't invert my camera. Different resupply alerts that tells me like my reloading was canceled. That is just about it. So like I mentioned, a lot of automations and things that you have to turn off. Might be kind of a long video. I hope you guys stuck around till the end, and I hope that helps you know, polish up your gameplay a little bit. And if you were fumbling around and figuring out, you know, like, why is my character doing all these weird things and I don't understand, this should help you have a much smoother experience and be running around Verdansk and Rebirth Island a lot more smoothly now, and I hope that helped. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I will have that second video coming out soon with my iPad HUD and my iPad sensitivities for you fellow iPad players out there that are looking for something that might be better than your current setup. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one.